Welcome to EOZ TV. I'm Elder,
And Mrs. Elder.
and it's been a while since we've been on here, and I've been meaning to get back into webcasting, but
I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I hope so.
So let's see what we got going on
We'll
tonight.
see. But tonight, I'm not quite as prepared as I would like to have been, but I am so upset over some stuff that happened certainly over the past week.
Oh, do tell.
I am that I just wanted to talk about it over here. So it's we're going to be talking about Israel's response to COVID, as well as the world's response to Israel's response to COVID. So what's going on over here? And again, for those that are listening, which are only a couple people so far, but nevertheless, you feel free to ask questions on the chat on the right-hand side of the YouTube screen, and we'll get right into this.
Hit like and subscribe.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
Hit like and subscribe. That's very good. Thank you.
Yeah, they should, and then pass it on. And then we're going to build this back up.
Okay, excellent. So what happened is, and I wrote an article about this morning, but not on the topic we're going to be talking about right now. Israel has been doing remarkably well with the COVID vaccinations. It's really the envy of the world is what's going on. Israel.
Why do you say that?
Israel has done in like 2 weeks already 12% of the population of Israel, or actually probably more today.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea the statistics.
Yeah, no, it's huge. By
That's pretty incredible.
far more than any other country did. And what I have on the screen is actually from as of yesterday, so it's probably up to like 14% today, because they're doing about 150,000 people a day.
You're kidding me.
So yeah, no.
Do you know how they're mechanically doing that?
That's a great question. We can go into it briefly. Israel has. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Let me just double check and make sure. Look on Twitter and see if anybody is saying anything. Well, nobody is. So I'm hoping everybody hears me. If not,
why don't you put up a comment in the comments field to make sure that our sound's good? Not you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The listeners.
Okay.
Hang tight. We're going to get this together. Sorry, guys. We're trying to get it back on track, and so if you can help us out by putting a comment, it would be greatly appreciated.
Let us know that you can hear me. At any rate.
Well, wait. Go check your comments.
No, it'll take a few seconds where there's a delay. So.
Okay. So you're going to talk, and you don't know that you're being heard.
I'm assuming since it's going up that we're being heard.
Okay, so that's good. So that you mean the graph? Okay, gosh.
Okay, fine.
I got it.
We're okay. At any rate, that's a very good question. How is Israel managing to do it? Israel manages to do it because it has a centralized government. A number of months ago, Israel took essentially the entire security infrastructure, the entire army, and they said, we're going to use this in order to be able to do whatever we can for COVID. So in April, for example, they did a full court press in order to get all of the PPV that they could. In order from the rest of the world, they were buying masks and stuff like that. Remember the plane that was flown in from China and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So Israel was trying very hard to do that sort of stuff, and now they did everything they could in order to get enough vaccines. And they're paid top dollar, by the way. They're paying, like, according to one story I saw, according to the rumor, I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but for the Moderna vaccine, right now they're doing the Pfizer, which requires the ultra cold refrigerator, but the Moderna, they're planning on paying like $60 a dose, which is like 5 times what everybody else is paying, just in order to make sure that everybody in Israel gets it. In order to get everybody in, because Israel is trying very hard to bring everybody up to get herd immunity, to make sure that they can open stores again. They can open up schools and everything freely.
That they could get moving.
Right, exactly. So Israel figures.
There's a massive debate about this.
Of course there is, but nevertheless.
No, but that's very impressive. 12% already. You're saying it's gone up to 13% potentially.
Yeah, at least that. As a matter of fact, I have another chart that I put on today. Here's vaccination doses administered per million people over time. Israel is up to this number. Nobody else is even going up. Practically.
Are you
Everybody
serious?
else is way down. Yeah, it's insane.
Oh my God.
So Israel's just like
extremely efficient.
So this is like, again, Israel's at 13,000 per million people, and Denmark's number 2 at 990 of people over the last. How does it work? Over the single shown as the vaccination doses administered per million people. I don't think this is total. I think this is per day. It's a little hard to understand this chart, to be honest. But at any rate, Israel's doing very, very well.
That's
as far
incredible,
as,
actually.
Yeah. Oh, it is for sure. It's not it is incredible, but they put a lot into it. Part of the reason, as I said, is because of centralized. They're doing everything centralized. The other reason is because there are 4 HMOs in Israel. They compete with each other. It's not like,
Oh, and so each one of them's trying to actually say, hey, I want to take this vaccine. I want to get this many because I get that much more money.
Well, I'm not sure if it's so much more money, but they want to show that that they're the best HMO. So all the people have to go to their own HMO, but it works well. I'm not a big HMO fan in America, but but it works really well in Israel. We have these.
That's
4.
impressive, because what I was going to say to you, I don't think I've ever seen statistics like that.
Oh, it's very, very impressive.
That's off the charts, man.
So whenever Israel does something impressive, what does the rest of the world do?
They condone them.
They condemn them.
Okay.
They try to come up with ways. They try to come up with ways to make Israel look bad.
That couldn't be what we're talking about, is it? No, so that couldn't be.
The worst example came today. This is so anti-Semitic. It's unbelievable. This is The Guardian today. Palestinians excluded from Israeli COVID vaccine rollout as jabs go to settlers. Okay? So here you have this real religious guy who's getting the vaccine, but showing, oh, the Jews are getting vaccine, the real Jewy Jews are getting vaccines, the ones with the beards, and the settlers who are evil settlers are getting vaccines, but the Palestinians are excluded. They're not allowed to get any vaccines.
We're going to have to go back and talk about what anti-Semitism is, because I was going to say to you, even some of the media that I'm reading, it's so subtle. You don't realize that they're being extremely anti-Semitic.
But the picture here, you don't have to. There's no subtlety here.
I understand that, but I just was making a.
I know, but there's no subtlety over here. They have this, there's a religious guy with the black hat.
Well, you're responding to it. It's marketing.
It's true, but nevertheless, it's ridiculous. And this is The Guardian, and if you go down in the article, buried deep into the article, it talks about how the Palestinians are trying to get it. They're trying to get it through the World Health Organization, through this partnership called COVAX, which will get 20%. They're trying to figure out how to get the rest of it. But it says, despite the delay, the authority has not officially, this is the Palestinian Authority, the authority has not officially asked for help from Israel. Huh? They have a headline.
Are you kidding?
They have a headline that's saying,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, there's a headline here that says, oh, Israel's not giving it to Palestinians, and then buried in the middle of it says, well, they never really asked.
My God.
And it says coordination between the two sides were halted last year after the Palestinian president cut off security ties. They didn't only cut off security ties, they cut off all ties with Israel. But
Hey, I mean, come on. Everybody who's listening from Israel, we got to get them in on this. What can I tell you?
Right. Well, they're not listening from Israel. It's very late in the night in Israel right now.
Don't be so sure.
Okay.
Don't be so sure.
So I
got friends over there.
This libel that Israel. This is not the first time this came up, though. The Washington Post said it last week, but I'm just going to go through a few examples over here of where this came from. There was a tweet here from someone named Salem Barameh, who has, it got 6,000 likes on it. All right.
Yeah, well, wait, let me read it.
Yep.
It says Israel vaccinating 1 million people is a third of the story. Another third in its withholding vaccine from 5 million Palestinians it occupies. Okay. Which by international law it's responsible for. Finally, 1/3 of its vaccinations are given to Jewish majority illegal settlements on the occupied land.
Okay.
This makes me mad.
Right. Yeah. So it's a number of things, but it's like this guy got huge number of hits by making these claims. The fact is, it's not withholding the vaccine from 5 million Palestinians. What happened to the Palestinians? It's not only they didn't request it, they didn't want it from Israel because there's an honor system over here.
Are they afraid that they're going to get cooties, or they're afraid they're going to contaminate it? Like, what gives?
No. It's an honor thing.
I'm just having to explain.
They don't want to look like they owe Israel anything. This is a very big Arab mentality
stuff. Let them speak to America then.
Right, yeah. So they're right. Somehow, with getting millions of dollars in aid from Europe, that doesn't hurt their pride. But getting vaccines from Israel, that's already too much. So there have already been stories, and I didn't bring it up over here, but there's been negotiations between the Palestinian Authority to get the Russian vaccine. As a matter of fact, and I don't know what happened to this, but 2 weeks ago there was a story that the UAE was working with Hadassah Hospital in Israel, in Jerusalem, in order to bring the Russian vaccine over to...
Do you trust the Russian vaccine after everything I heard here?
No, I personally, I don't, and Israel doesn't trust the Russian vaccine, but this is very interesting. But the whole point is the Palestinian Authority can make its own decisions as far as which vaccines.
Oh, like who they're going to take and things like
right.
that.
In other words, India is taking the Russian vaccine, right?
Really?
Yeah, they are. And in fact, they're going to be manufacturing the Russian vaccine.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Brazil is going to be taking it. I'm pretty sure Mexico as well. Okay, fine. But it's like, but the Palestinian Authority has the right to make its own decisions as far as which vaccine its people are going to use, right?
Absolutely.
But
and you're saying that they don't want to take it from Israel, and yet they're going to give bad PR to Israel just because they're not going to take it from Israel.
The Palestinians aren't doing this. That's the funny thing.
Was it the Jews?
No. Well, it is too. But if you look at it, if you look at Palestinian media, if you look at the, their newspapers and their official press agency, nowhere, I've been looking, nowhere do they say, oh, look, we're not getting vaccines from Israel. Not even once do they say that, because they don't want the vaccines from Israel. They're not asking for the vaccines from Israel.
So then why is somebody making an issue out of it? Just because in order to raise money or something?
No, I don't know. It's because they hate Israel. It's really, this is the subtle type of anti-Semitism. It is propaganda. It's anti-Israel propaganda. And there's a jealousy that the Guardian, for example, but it's not only the Guardian. I'll just go through another couple examples.
Slow down.
I can't slow down. I'm really pissed at this. I'm sorry.
Take it easy.
Here, and she took this down, but the editor-in-chief of Jewish Currents retweeted the one I just showed you. This is a socialist newspaper.
Why don't you call her on it then?
I did, but she took it down. It's a socialist newspaper, Jewish Currents, and
I don't think I could put up with it.
Yeah,
me personally, I would go nuts.
I can't read that paper. It's really hard. I can't read their website.
I can't even believe that these people actually can think like that.
It's unreal. But nevertheless, she did this. But not only her, over here, this was Gerald Steinberg pointed out that this was Daniel Seidemann, who is a I can't say he's anti-Israel because he's more complex than that, but he's very, very peacenik, super left-wing Israeli and very, very critical of Israel. And he wrote this tweet saying, "This is more than an example of apartheid. Israel's failure to provide vaccinations to West Bank and Gaza is the embodiment of toxic occupation, where the Oslo Accords have become the foundations of occupation rather than the engine ending it." But here's the thing: who retweeted this? David Halbfinger. You know who that is?
Do tell.
He's the Israeli correspondent of the New York Times.
Oh my God.
So the New York Times guy is retweeting this libel against Israel.
Yeah.
But this isn't the first time that this came up. This came up a couple of weeks ago. Here you can see Al Jazeera
right,
from December 17th saying the same theme. Palestinians left waiting as Israel set to deploy the COVID vaccine. And so the question is, and we're going to go into it, and here's another one. If you today, Yoni Mecheni had a whole bunch of a really good response to it, but he also pointed out, like the Washington Post, also I think it was December 19th, had the same take. Israel is starting to vaccinate. The Palestinians are going to have to wait.
I don't want you to take this wrong. Anytime I hear the word Washington Post, I can't even tell you what I'm thinking. Okay.
Okay, but
by the way, let me just take a moment. Everybody, can you hit like and subscribe and pass it to your friends? We need to get the volume up. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Okay, fine.
I got to do the marketing. You know. Okay. Hey, what can I say?
But this
Get us
is
back
like,
on track.
We'll try. But at any rate, so this has been a theme, and I think AP had it too. It was a consistent theme for the past 2 weeks that Israel's doing the vaccinations, but there's always a but. Nobody says Belgium's doing the vaccinations, but, and nobody's saying Ireland.
At its best.
It really is. It's really, really crazy.
We haven't learned how to do,
our own propaganda.
Yeah,
it's true. Okay.
I mean, what's fair is fair.
So let's at least look at what some of the facts are over here. Okay.
Sure.
The first fact is, and I don't have a screen to show this over here. Well, the first fact is one I mentioned already, actually, which is that the Palestinians never asked for it. Okay?
That blows my mind.
They never asked for it.
They never
happened. But
at least the other article actually stated that.
It mentioned, but who reads halfway there? That's the thing.
Hang on a second. The fact that it's even in there is like a big accomplishment.
No, it's not. It means it's a covering your ass type of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah. What they're doing. The Guardian is saying.
Because they don't want to get sued.
Right. The Guardian is saying, look, we are admitting it. It says it in the thing. Just because our headline says one thing and paragraph 92 says another thing, we have paragraph 92.
Yeah.
So no. But it's beyond this. It's not only that they didn't ask Israel. There's a question of logistics.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I've been watching some articles come out of the Jerusalem Post that seem extremely liberal lately. What's going on over there?
We're not going to go into that
Okay,
now.
okay. I just had to ask because I was going to say, if you're sitting here referencing the Jerusalem Post, I'm
this
getting
is
a little.
Khaled Abu Tameh. He's great.
Okay, no,
Okay.
no. I can't see because my
Okay.
glasses need to be refined. But
Okay.
I just.
So at any rate, but it's but there's a logistics issue over here. Okay, the only vaccine that Israel has at the moment, they ordered the Moderna vaccine, but the Pfizer vaccine requires super cold temperatures. Okay, it has to be 70 or 80 degrees below 0 Celsius, I believe, which is just like unbelievably cold.
I know that's like a crazy. Why
Right,
don't they use the
super
other
frozen.
vaccine?
Because it wasn't available. This is the first one that was available.
Yeah, but it was only a week after that they.
They're ordering the other one. They're getting.
All right.
They ordered millions of them, and
All right.
they're paying top dollar. But they wanted to get as many as possible, as fast as possible. So
Slow down. You're
I
making me
can't
happy.
slow down. I'm very upset.
I understand, but my pulse is going so quick. I'm like, okay, relax.
So what happens is in order to do this, you require special types of freezers. In order to do this, you need a freezer that can do that. The Palestinian Authority doesn't have these freezers.
So let them buy them.
So, no, but they're not They're not easily available. So even if so there's a logistics issue over here. Even if the Palestinian Authority wanted to use Israeli vaccines, they can't.
Why didn't we get a doctor to speak about this tonight?
That we probably should have, but I got upset. I only started this a
That's
week
fine.
ago.
I'm just saying to you.
So at any rate, so this was what's going on. So they couldn't if they wanted to. Okay, they couldn't use the vaccine, which is one of the reasons probably they wanted to use the Russian vaccines, and it's probably and one of the reasons they're looking at the other ones that the Pfizer vaccine is not even an option for them. Israel is doing something very interesting with the Pfizer.
Do tell.
Israel is taking, because once you unfreeze it, once you thaw it out, you can't refreeze it.
Right.
So what Israel does is in the morning, they say, okay, here are the people, all the the people that are over 60, the frontline workers, the teachers, the people that are going to be most in contact with the public. Those are the people that get in the morning. And then they say, once it comes into the afternoon and evening, they're saying, whoever wants to come and gets it, because it's going to be wasted otherwise. So come and get it. So that's why you're getting young people in Israel getting it too. They're waiting in line and they're getting it.
You were telling me about that, and the fact of the matter is, do you know how? I don't know if you've actually spoken to anybody. Do you know how many vaccines they actually have left over? And
well, they're trying to make it zero. There were
no,
a couple,
no. I'm saying by the time that they get through their initial list of who they have planned for that day.
I have no idea, because it's not specific people. They're just saying everybody that's over 60, whatever. But supposedly it's very fast. I spoke to one person today, one of my columnists actually. He said literally it was a minute. He walked in, he showed his ID and everything like that. He was vaccinated in a minute and walked out. It was like so super fast. And Israel's doing it. They're like doing it 7 days a week. And in fact, there was.
Is anybody having reactions over there? Or is everything okay?
There were a couple. There were a couple.
That's right. I heard.
Yeah. There were a couple people that died, and they're not sure how much of it might be an allergic reaction. People are looking at it. I have not researched that thoroughly.
No, I think that's something that we should check into. I'm not saying. I'm just saying
right. But in general,
this there's even
a rabbi. They were trying to get the religious, the Haredim, to do it, because they were a little bit more. The two groups in Israel that have been very reluctant have been the super religious, the Haredim, and the Arabs. And Israel's trying very hard to make sure that the Arabs in Israel get inoculated as well as the very from very religious Jews. So they actually got a Jewish legal opinion. They got one or a couple of them to give a legal opinion saying that that all the religious Jews must get a. Why are we getting this?
I know. I was going to say I just saw the screen drop.
I know.
And I'm like, let's get them out. Cool.
They're saying, why do we, that even they're making that all of the religious Jews, there is an actual legal decision, a halachic decision, that all religious Jews should get it. They're saying that the risk.
So it was poskin. It came down that they're saying.
Yes.
And what happens if some? I apologize for asking this question. What happens if somebody's an anti-vaccine individual who believes in holistic stuff?
They don't go.
They're not forced to. No, they're not. That they're not forced to.
No, nobody's forced to do it. Of course not.
Oh, okay.
No. But again, Israel. You're never going to get 100%. But if Israel gets to, and nobody knows what the number is for herd immunity right now. But if you get to like 80 or 90%, I'm putting it this way: if you probably get to 50 or 60%, chances are you can start opening things up again. If you get to 80 or 90%, then you don't have to even worry about the people that don't have the. It depends on how. Like, for example, if the British strain.
They were claiming here in America that even if you got it, they were going to have infections anyway? Did you hear that nonsense?
No, there's a lot of stuff, and we're gonna have to go into that. That's a whole different thing. There's some people get it from the first. You have to get the 2 shots. So some people are getting it after one, but there's definitely some level of protection after
No, I'm
one.
not talking about that. What I'm talking about is that our government here in America was saying, and it kind of no, it blew my mind when I
I'll
heard
have to
it.
look it up at any rate.
Okay, well, I don't want to get you off
Yeah,
topic.
yeah.
I just thought it was very
Okay.
interesting.
But it's very funny speaking about the government over here. It's like, in Israel they're doing this 7 days a week. They're doing it, and in New York I was just reading like, oh, it's a holiday weekend. We're not doing any vaccinations now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah. It's like what?
I'm not even going to talk about New York.
Right.
Don't get me started.
I know it's crazy, but so Israel's taking this extremely seriously. So let's see what this was because I don't remember what page I set up over here because these pages went to sleep.
So you got to wake them up again?
Yes, but I have no idea. There's probably
at least it's
got
a cute little smiley face on it.
Yeah,
So that
I don't know what's going on. Maybe we lost our network.
Network? Yeah.
I have no idea. Oh, this one this is the one I showed before about the guy that showed the Washington Post. He had a very good answer on this on his thread.
Okay, take your time and go through
this one, I don't know what's going on. Okay.
You lost it.
But at any rate,
oh, that one's sleeping too.
Yeah, it is. Well, they're all. So this is another point over here. So that's just one point that I brought up. The Palestinians never asked for it. Let's go to another point. People are saying that Israel is obligated to provide it under international law. That Israel's obligated to provide
to give it to the Palestinians.
To give it to the Palestinians.
And they're not going to take it.
Well, no, they're saying that people are claiming that Israel's obligated under international law to do this. It's not true.
I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, so it's not true. And over here, if you look up the Oslo Accords, which is in force because there's been nothing that has succeeded that, it says that the powers and responsibilities in the sphere of health in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip will be transferred to the Palestinian side. So the current agreements between Israel and Palestinians...
It's their own problem.
Right. The Palestinians are the ones responsible for health. It's not Israel that's responsible for their health.
Don't they get that there's new agreements made and things are going well with other countries and it's time for them to come and stop?
That's a whole other story. Not for now, but it's you're right. They should. But nevertheless,
that's pretty cool. Meaning it's their responsibility.
Right. It's
quit pushing it over to the other side.
Right. But again, the Palestinians aren't doing it. It's not the Palestinians doing it. It's the people in the West that hate Israel that are doing it. They're the ones that are. I mean, it's some Arabs or people that are in these tweets I see. But nevertheless, it's not the Palestinians aren't the ones saying this. They're not the ones that are giving this libel over here. It's the other people.
Could it be coming from? No, I won't say it.
Okay, fine. So this is another reason why it's ridiculous to be blaming Israel for this. But it goes even beyond this, because if you think about it, the people that want an independent Palestinian state, right? The people that want the Palestinians to be as independent and have their own responsibilities as possible, they're the ones that are saying, oh, it's Israel's responsibility to do this. They're the ones that are taking away the sovereignty of the Palestinians. The Palestinians have Area A and Area B and Area C. And they have Area A. Let me explain.
Is it they want to feel good about themselves?
Let me explain.
Okay.
So Area A is the part in which is under full Palestinian Authority control.
Okay, take your time explaining.
In Judea and in Samaria. Area B is under essentially under civil control from the Palestinian Authority, but it's under the Israeli army is there. And Area C is fully under the Israeli army. So and under Israeli control. So Area A and B is where like 95% of the Palestinians live. And they're under the government of the Palestinians. They're not under an Israeli government. They're under a Palestinian government. So, and those are the ones that are responsible for them. They're the ones that, take care of they have their own police. They have their own judiciary, as lousy as it works, but they have their own, trappings of a nation, and they're recognized as a nation by a lot of other countries in the United Nations.
So meaning they should assume the responsibility.
Of course. So here's something that was just fascinating to me. This came as this press release from a bunch of human rights organizations. This is also recent. This is December 23rd. Al Mizan is a Palestinian one, but Amnesty, B'Tselem is Israeli, and a few others were listed over here. We could look at what they were. And they're the ones that are saying here, these are the people that supposedly want an independent Palestinian state, and they're saying, no, this is Israel's responsibility. So, and it goes even beyond that. It's really, really crazy. They're saying, first of all, they're quoting the Geneva Convention, okay? Article 56 of the Fourth Geneva Convention specifies that an occupier has a duty of ensuring, preventive measures regularly, necessary to combat the spread of contagious diseases and epidemics. Okay, that's what the Geneva says for a case of occupation. Okay? We're going to get to whether this is occupation or not in a minute. Then they're also talking about over here, and this is amazing to me. We express grave concerns about media reports, and this is what happened again. This is what I told you about a couple weeks ago. The Russian developed vaccine will be delivered to the Palestinian Authority. Okay, here's something that the Palestinians negotiated. Okay,
right.
Apparently, from what I heard with the UAE and with Hadassah Hospital, but maybe with other people, maybe with Jordan, I'm not sure. But they were trying to get, the Palestinian Authority themselves said, hey, the Russian vaccine is good enough for India, it's good enough for Brazil. They have their own doctors, they have their own scientists, they looked at it, they looked at the numbers. I wouldn't trust the Russian vaccine because it really didn't go through the phase 3 trials all the way. It went through phase 2. They said it was effective, and they decided to rush it out, which it might be a reasonable thing to do. It's like,
hey, I don't trust the CDC, period. So
no, but that's not the point. The point is, like, it's not an unreasonable thing when you're talking about a worldwide pandemic to say, hey, we're going to push it a little bit. I think the United States has reason to wait for the end of phase 3 trials, and they did. But the Russians, they wanted to get it in there quickly for their people, so fine, they did it after phase 2. The chances are it won't be as safe. Is
it the same? Is it the same concoction, if you will?
No, completely different.
It's a totally different.
Completely different formula. Yeah, nothing to do with it.
And so there's 2 over in Israel, and so Russia is distributing to a couple of
few other. There's
so
about
the Palestinian area.
Right, but there's a few other. There's going to be within a few months. There's going to be like 10. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people of companies that are doing. China has their own also, but nobody trusts the Chinese one. So anyway, so this is what Amnesty and B'Tselem and all these guys are saying. They're saying, no, the Russian-developed vaccine should not be delivered to the Palestinian Authority. So in other words, it's good enough for the Palestinian Authority, but it's not good enough for Amnesty. They're saying, no, we're going to override what the Palestinian Authority is saying.
I know, but why do they have a need to do that? Is it an ego, or is it just that they want to get money?
Because they hate Israel.
Okay.
It's because they hate Israel. So they're saying, oh, no, we want Israel to be responsible for it. So how can Israel allow this subpar vaccine to be distributed?
So they're interjecting their
opinion.
And
they're making, but it's not. But it's crazy because if they want the Palestinians to be an independent, nation, and they're infantilizing these Palestinians. They're treating them like babies. The people that they say they respect, that they care so much for them they're saying they can't even make their own decisions about their own lives. That's what Amnesty is saying. Amnesty is saying Palestinians are stupid babies, and that's racist.
It sounds like they want to control them.
That's not control. They're just being racist. They're considering them babies that can't make their own decisions about their own lives, and that's crazy. Whether you agree with it or not, the Palestinians themselves can do their own research. What?
Is that Roth who's doing this?
What are you talking about?
Oh no, that Roth it could be another place.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway,
we'll talk about it later.
Fine.
No, he always sends out these anti-Semitic tweets.
Oh, Ken Roth from Human Rights Watch. I don't think Human Rights Watch was in this thing. I think it's just Amnesty. But we could look at it actually if you want to see.
No, it's okay. I was just kind of curious.
We'll find out in a second. Give me a second.
No, I was just kind of curious because
from Al Mazan, it was Adel Al Mazan, Amnesty, B'Tselem, Gisha. A couple of things I don't really know that much. Lawyers for Palestinians, Physicians for Human Rights Israel, they're an interesting bunch, and Palestinian Center for Human Rights. So those are the ones that came out with it. For some reason, Human Rights Watch wasn't on this list. But think about it. Amnesty is saying that Palestinians don't have enough maturity to come up with their own.
That's how they get money.
Yeah, but it's the anti-Semitism is part of how they get money.
I know.
But now they have to worry. They used to be able to get from Saudi Arabia. Now Saudi Arabia is more on Israel's side, so who knows? But at any rate,
isn't that awesome?
Yeah,
I know. I was going to say to you, the way that this is going to switch around, this is going to be pretty incredible.
Anyway, but let's go back to the question of whether the parts of the West Bank of Judea and Samaria are actually occupied to begin with. I just again found this quickly, but I think I've discussed it on the blog before. This is a paper written by Amnesty International in April 2003 talking about the impending occupation of Iraq by American forces. So here they give a definition of what occupation is. Okay? The sole criterion for deciding the applicability of the law in belligerent application is drawn from the facts. The de facto effective control of territory by foreign armed forces, coupled with the possibility to enforce their decisions, and the de facto absence of a national governmental authority and effective control. In areas A and B, there is a Palestinian Authority, and Israel couldn't go in there if they wanted to. to
They're
change
emotional.
anything.
What can I say?
But it's nothing with emotion. That's nothing
Just
with that.
because they have the facts.
The fact is, Israel couldn't go in there if they wanted to. Israel could. What they're saying is that Israel's going to have to create an entire infrastructure inside the Palestinian territories and create, and start setting up tents and buildings and hospitals and everything that they have, where they set up their drugs and bring in their refrigerators and freezers, and it's like, but that's what they're saying is Israel's, that's what, if Israel is truly occupying this area, that it would be Israel's responsibility. If it was a true occupation, it would be. But you know what else would be Israel's responsibility? Setting up courts, setting up police, setting up all this other stuff. Nobody says Israel should be doing that.
So they can't lose their occupation.
In other words,
propaganda.
occupation, right, but occupation has a definite meaning. They're here, and this is Amnesty International telling us what occupation means. Even though, okay, the objective of a military campaign may not be to control territory, the sole presence of such forces in controlling position renders applicable the law protecting inhabitants. But the Israeli army isn't in those areas. Area B, you can make an argument. Area A, they only go in for very specific circumstances. But it says here, the occupying power cannot avoid its responsibilities as long as a national government is not in a position to carry out its normal tasks. There is a national government. It was created in the same Oslo process in which they said, oh, we're going to take care of health. The national government exists. It is functional to some extent. And the same sort of thing you could say about Gaza. Hamas also is a national government of sorts. They're taking on the government responsibilities. They're not great at it.
I got an idea.
What?
You need to put cheat sheets out. What that means is that when they come up with this propaganda, everybody starts shooting this out to them. I know it's a lot of work.
I can't do it fast enough.
No, but I'm saying to you, you have a lot of history in what you've done. I just think it would be great, because what's happening is that they obviously need to be reminded that they're full of, like. Right,
but the point is that, like, even according to Amnesty's own definition, you cannot possibly say that Israel is occupying the areas that are under the control of the Palestinian Authority or Hamas. It's impossible to say that. So this whole thing is such a libel, and it certainly crosses into anti-Semitism if you look at what the Guardian was saying, but all of them really are. They're saying that Israel has all the responsibilities and Palestinians get all the benefits, but Palestinians have no responsibilities of their own. Except when Amnesty says they do. In other words, it's all arbitrary. They say that it's a rule, but it's not. They make up the rules as they go along. And it's actually insane, and it is completely the only reason I put together this thing, and I did this very quickly, so apologies.
So you're doing it quickly. Slow down.
Yeah, I can't slow down. I can't slow down.
I'm
too upset.
Anyway.
Well,
you've got to be less upset so that you can explain it, so that I can make sure I'm understanding what you're saying.
Okay. There are a couple of comments. Let me just go through quickly from Lenny from New York City.
Wait, what I was going to say is, let me just give a reminder to everybody. Just make sure you like and share so that we can start doing this, and we'll start getting more and more people, so that we can get more questions and we can get more pertinent information out to you guys. So go ahead.
Okay. And if you have topics that upset me enough to make me want to do this. Anyway, the Lenny from New York City.
If he doesn't do it, I'll do it. Go ahead.
Lenny from New York City asks, how can we more effectively band together with other people of goodwill trying to push back against this wave of anti-Jewish, anti-Israel misinformation and hate on social media? That is a huge question. And it's way beyond the scope of this.
It may be way beyond the scope, but it's very pertinent.
No, it's a very good question. It's
because that's what you're talking about.
No, it is. It's at the moment, we can use social media. We can, name and shame the people like we've been doing over here.
Let's do a show on this.
Maybe we will. So, but that's like, it's a huge question, and it's but certainly you get involved with the organizations that do pro-Israel advocacy. And again, you just retweet. It's very important, and this is not a small thing. Everybody can do this. When you see something that's good, you retweet it, or you comment on it, or you push it back again, against the people that are doing the bad stuff. And it's very important to be able to do that. Because the multiplier effect is huge.
Well, you know what I saw? To be quite honest, to address his question.
What?
One of the things that I saw is that when you see an anti-Semitic tweet, and the question is that it always comes into your mind, how is it the most effective to be able to respond to that individual? And a person such as yourself can come up with it off the cuff, right? And I'm saying to you that it's something that actually, Sometimes I saw the responses that people were giving that were just adding fuel to the fire instead of being a solution.
You have to be careful with this
No,
stuff.
I'm
In other
just,
words, when you have a person who's tweeting something that's offensive, that's either directly anti-Semitic or effectively anti-Semitic because of how ridiculously anti-Israel it is, you have to look at it a little bit. You have to look at it in a big, in a broader view and see, first of all, is the person doing this out of malice, or are they doing it because they just are ignorant?
I'm telling you, you
And
should do a tweet.
okay, we'll see.
A tweet show.
Right.
Because
So,
I was going to say to you, this happens every single day.
it definitely does.
I run into it and I have to be careful.
Oh no, absolutely. So you have to know to figure out how effective it is. You have to know exactly what to do. So if it's a malicious person, you can make fun of them, but you don't want to directly engage in them. Except you have to think about how popular they are and how many people are believing what they're doing. So in other words, you're not necessarily arguing with the person themselves. You're arguing with them for the purpose of having other people watch what you're saying. So it's a difficult thing, and that's another topic we can go into.
Here's the problem. One last thing.
Yeah.
One last thing, and I apologize.
Yeah.
What happens is that I see a lot of that, and they're very emotional, and they're not looking at the facts. They become so emotional that they're actually, glazing over what the reality is.
Both sides do that.
100%, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying to you, it's not insignificant what that question is.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm going to turn it back to you. Go ahead.
The second question is that Lenny asks, when they say 5 million Palestinians, they're including Gaza, which is run by a homicidal terrorist organization that spends charity money on rockets. Why would Israel help these murderers anyway? There is international law involved. So it's not like, you can't say that everybody's a murderer or something like that. So I disagree with the question a little bit, just because I agree that, Israel has to be careful what to give to Gaza, but Israel has never, ever blocked medical aid to Gaza or the Palestinian Authority, and they never will. And this is another libel that's out there. They, very often you're going to see, whether it's the Guardian or Washington Post or any of these guys, they're going to say, oh, the Palestinian hospitals, especially in Gaza, are so poorly equipped because of the blockade that Israel has. It's garbage. It's not because of the blockade. Israel doesn't block it, and we talk to the people in the Gaza.
I know, but I was going to say that you can hear through what he's saying is that everybody's hurt because it's like they're going through it continuously and being beaten up. You know what I'm saying?
No, I understood,
and
but never
but
Israel
headway.
still has to, Israel's not going to block it, and they're not going to, because 90% or whatever the number is of Gazans are not going to be terrorists. 95, whatever the number is. So you still have to allow medical aid to go there, and there's no reason not to. And the same thing with Iran or any place else. Obviously, you should send the medical aid to these places.
Is there such a thing, seriously, as a workshop to actually, I'm very serious, to have people learn about what the right thing is to do to respond and things of that nature? Seriously.
There actually are, and again, that's not for now, but there are, there are actually groups that do, and people that give lectures and give talks on how to do this sort of thing. Because I
think it's such a significant issue, and it's like, I run into it, everybody runs into it.
It is.
I think you really should do a show on that.
Okay, we can do a show on that. But that's
I'm
another
just
thing.
saying.
But at any rate, because we are way over the amount of time.
Forget being way over. This is important. Give me a break.
I want to make sure people watch it afterwards. If it's
They're going to watch it afterwards.
We'll see. At any rate, if there are no other questions, that's really what I wanted to get into.
So can we do a quick recap? So anyway.
Okay, sure.
I mean, don't just go, I'm going to go out of here. No,
okay,
that's not the way it works.
Okay, fine.
You're not going to just go.
Okay, as a recap, Israel has been doing a remarkable job as far as getting the vaccines out. And for whatever reason, from the very beginning of them doing this, there's been some sort of a jealousy or some sort of a backlash in which all media, not just The Guardian, not just the Washington Post, not just AP, not just Al Jazeera, but all of these guys have felt the need to say, oh, look, Israel's doing this, but they're not giving it to the Palestinians, without giving any context to that, without noticing, hey, the Palestinians never asked for it. The Palestinians couldn't handle the Pfizer vaccine, even if they wanted to. Israel could give them all the vaccines they want. They're going to end up rotting on the shelf within one day. So they couldn't do it if they wanted to. There's a logistics issue over here. There's the issue of the actual facts of what happened. And then there's beyond that the actual legal issue of whether Israel is responsible to do it. And the signed agreements Israel has with the Palestinians says explicitly, no, Israel's not responsible to give. Israel is not allowed to block the Palestinians from getting whatever vaccines they want, and Israel doesn't block them from getting whatever they want.
So let me make sure I'm understanding this. So we don't even have a clue whether or not they're even vaccinating anybody over there at all.
They're not yet, but within a few weeks they're hoping to. They're
and
getting.
who took lead of that? Just out of curiosity.
No, the Palestinians themselves are.
Okay, no,
doing
no,
it.
but I'm saying in the Palestinian.
Oh, yeah, of course. The Palestinians' own medical establishment have been, doing what they
Okay.
can to import it, and they're starting off with that thing called COVAX, which is where where there's like a consortium that are allowing these, poor countries to get up to 20% of the poor people can get, of the people in poor countries can get. So that's a start, and they're negotiating with these other vaccine makers in order to be able to get to it. And then there was really another. I don't know what happened.
Slow down.
The thing that
You're
we
on
lost.
you're on a race tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. This is now I remember what was in this tweet that doesn't come back up again, but it was a brilliant answer from Avi Meyer.
Okay, so take your time and go get it.
Yeah, what it said was,
go get it.
no, I can't get it anyway. I'm not going to get it anyway. But it's what somebody said was like, well, listen, the Palestinians don't have enough money, and then he came up with a number saying, going rate for the vaccines for them to vaccinate this many people, he did the calculation, would be about $340 million. Where are they going to get $340 million from? And Avi Meir said, you know how much they pay for for the terrorists? How much they pay from the ones that are in prison? And is just almost exactly the same number, like 350, 370 million a year. Yeah, almost exactly the same numbers that they're paying the terrorists would literally pay for a vaccine for every single Palestinian.
Wow.
It's crazy. That was a beautiful tweet from Avi Meir. So I'm sorry that didn't come up, but that was a very important fact.
That is an impressive tweet.
Yeah, it was very good.
I'm impressed.
Anyway, so for
Hang
now,
on, any questions? If not, you put them up there.
Yeah, there are no other questions for now, apparently.
Okay, that's fine. But anyway, like and share, and make sure that you pass it out, because then we'll do more and more shows.
We hope so.
And
I do want to get back into this.
And what you can do is that through the comments field, talk to us about what you're interested in hearing about, and we'll research it potentially for the next one.
Well, not the comments field, but it's but do it in. Sorry, I just messed this up. But
yep, I think you blew it.
But the comments, but no, do it in Twitter, just in Twitter. Tweet me with whatever else if you have other topics or anything like that you want to hear. So
or you feel that you have something that you can bring to the table.
Oh, sure.
And that you're an expert in, because there's quite a few listeners that really are, and I've learned so much. So listen, I just put my 2 cents in.
Okay, very good. At any rate, we are, again, this is much longer than most of our shows, but.
So what?
Okay. So for now, I am Elder.
And I'm Mrs. Elder.
And thank you very much for joining us. And hopefully next time we'll get our sound back and our graphics.
And don't forget to like and share and send it out to your friends.
Very good. Thanks a lot. Take care, everybody. Bye.